In a recent video by YouTuber Scotty Kilmer, he posed the question,
why on earth would somebody running a gas station want to put a whole bunch of money into an infrastructure?
Well, Scotty, I have an answer. They like making money. Guess we got to talk about this right now.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball.
Hi, I'm Rich and welcome to Wings, Wheels, and Wires. Alright, so since the comment section of this video might get a little spicy, I think we need to cover 3 points of housekeeping before we get started. 1. My channel is pro-EV. Scotty Kilmer's channel leans much more anti-EV. So why do I listen to his channel then? Well, I listen to both pro and anti-EV channels to get both sides of the argument to better understand and appreciate the topic. So, for those of you who are anti-EV adoption, how about you hear me out before you tell me how wrong I am? 2. Scotty is an auto expert, and I am not. However, in this video, he discusses EV charging and business ownership, both of which are things I actually know a fair amount about. 3. His video is based on an article that he read, but since he didn't cite the article, it's hard for me to tell which parts are his opinion versus what was in the article. I will do my best to try, though. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's dig straight into Scotty's first point, which was...
Even in California, 90% of the charging, 90% is done at home. You charge it at your level 2 charger at home.
All right, let's take a look at that. In the United States, in 2023, there were 1.2 million EVs on the road. If you assume one charge per vehicle per day, this 10% that he's discussing accounts for 120,000 charging sessions per day on public chargers, which is not a bad market, if it were accurate. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, nationwide, home charging only accounted for 80%, which means 20% of the market was on public chargers, which would equal 240,000 charging sessions per day, which is a pretty good market share, especially as this number is only going to increase every year as more electric vehicles hit the road. And throughout the article, it sounds like they focused on people traveling, when in reality, a great many people who live in apartments don't have access to home charging and rely solely on public charging. Next, Scotty identified the high price of installing chargers as a barrier to stations adopting this. Let's hear it.
That might cost over $1 million per station, and as the man says, he'll never recoup his investment.
All right, in actuality, each charging station will cost between $40,000 and $100,000. So if you paid the max amount and installed 10 chargers, which is a good number of chargers, maybe then you'd hit $1 million, but the number would be much closer to $500,000. And that price is assuming that you add 10 charging stations. And I think this is where we can all find some common ground. I don't think any gas station right now should be adding 10 charging stations. I don't care if you're across the street from Tesla's Fremont factory. We are in a transitional period. A smart configuration would reflect that transitional period. You would add 1 or 2 charging stations at this point, and if financially they pan out, then expand more as it makes sense to do so. So we're really talking about an initial investment of probably more like $40,000. Now, one point in defense of the original article's aversion to shifting over to EV charging is that most EV charging companies have a difficult time making a profit. By the time they're done paying for the location rental, the equipment, maintenance, and the price of electricity, they have very little room left for profit off of the couple of cents per kilowatt they charge. And if they try to charge more, people go to a different company because there is competition out there. So that makes a pretty compelling reason not to add electric chargers, right? Except for one small problem. Guess what else doesn't make a lot of money? Gas. That's right, your average gas station gross makes about 15 cents per gallon. This is before they pay for rent, utilities, labor, freight fees, and credit card fees. By the time they're done with all that, the average profit per gallon drops down to only 2 cents. Now, before you jump down to the comment section and tell me how that's impossible because they wouldn't be able to stay in business if that were true, here's how this really works. You see, gas stations only make about 20% of their profit off of gas. The other 80% comes from the things you buy in the convenience store. Alright, check this out. How many times have you gone to the gas station and while you were there ran in and picked up some kind of drink or snack? Now imagine, you go to the gas station, you buy $60 worth of gas, and you run in and buy a $1.50 cup of coffee. From that transaction, they made 30 cents off of your gas and 80 cents off of your coffee. How's that for crazy? Now let's go back to the question of why a gas station owner would want to invest money into an EV charger. Remember those 240,000 public charging sessions per day? By adding a charger, you not only get the opportunity to make money off of those charging sessions, but that's more people that will come in and use your convenience store as well, which is where the real money is. And I think convenience store profits will be proportionately higher for EVs than they would for gas cars. Think back again to your last road trip. You stop, you put gas in your car, and you may go in for a soda or a snack, or you may just keep driving and hit up the next fast food place farther down the road. Well, if you're in an EV, that trip is now 30 to 40 minutes you're going to be sitting there at that location. So it's much more time efficient to eat your snack and get your drink then and not make another stop. So this makes you much more likely to go in and purchase from the convenience store. And I would like to take this moment to address the clear lack of understanding by the person who originally wrote this article when they said,
This place, so he's got some entertainment for people to do while they're waiting for an hour for their car to charge.
part of the cost of installing EV charging is entertainment. No doubt every EV owner shook their head and rolled their eyes when they heard this. Where do you think we charge now? Nightclubs? When it comes to entertainment, if you're charging your vehicle, your best option is a shopping mall. You can shop while you're charging. However, if you're on a road trip, the likelihood of these chargers being full and the amount of time it takes to find them and get to them is notably longer. So you'd probably avoid this. You're more likely going to either shop at a strip mall or a park and ride location. The strip malls, if you're really lucky, you'll be in the front portion of the mall, but more likely you're going to be behind the building with a wonderful view of the dumpsters and loading docks. Not a lot of entertainment there. Or even worse, if you go to someplace like a park and ride and charge there, there is absolutely nothing there. I remember being at one such location and I walked nearly a mile to the nearest entertainment, which was a gas station. So yeah, we're already pretty good at entertaining ourselves. You don't have to spend money to add entertainment for us. So you see, gas stations adding EV charging can be a win-win situation. Stations get more customers in, allowing them to make more money, and they draw more people into the convenience store to spend more money there. The additional profits can be used to lower the cost of charging, drawing even more customers in, making them very competitive against traditional EV charging companies. So if this is so great, why don't we see more EV chargers at gas stations? Well, first and foremost is status quo. You see, doing nothing is always easier than doing anything, right? So why would a gas station, if it's making money already, go through the effort of adding charging stations? It may make them more money in the future, or it may not. Why take that risk when you just keep doing what you're doing? The next potential barrier is cost. Imagine you have a little mom and pop gas station convenience store, and you're barely making ends meet as it is. Shifting over to EV charging won't cost you the $1 million that Scotty mentioned, but $40,000 can still be very prohibitively expensive to change over. Next is a possibility that adding EV chargers to gas stations might be disincentivized by either the oil companies or the fuel distribution companies, who would see this as an existential threat. Think that is impossible? Let me tell you a story. Many years ago, my mom actually worked for a fuel distribution company that was shorting one of their stations quite a bit over a personality conflict. That's right, they were engaging in an activity that not only cost the station a whole lot of money, but actually cost them money as well over the fact that they just didn't like him. If that's what they'll do to somebody over just a conflict in personality, imagine what they would do to something that was actually causing them an existential threat. And of course, I have no doubt that this has been conveyed to their stations in one shape, form, or another. It could be as direct as threats, or as subtle as the way the contract and fee schedule is written. All right, so those are the reasons that would disincentivize stations to adding chargers. Now, with that said, I see an ever-increasing number of gas stations that have chargers at them, and Shell has even implemented their own charging app for charging at their stations. So they are actually beginning to make that transition. But tell me, what do you think? Do you think that this is a good plan? Do you agree with the original article? Do you agree with what I presented? Let me know down below in the comments. And while you're down there, you can hit that like button, the subscribe button and all that. And when you're done with all that, here's a video that YouTube thinks you'll like.